to one Let's Record a Podcast. Welcome to the Replay Cafe podcast. My name is Jake.
My name's Alex.
And we're the owners of Replay Cafe. This is our episode 0.2.
Yeah,
or 5.
Full disclosure, this has been recorded before, and
all these conversations are incredibly canned.
Didn't like it.
As you were saying, we've done this before. We're coming prepared this time.
I wouldn't say prepared. But I did say
yes,
that
you read a book.
Before. Oh, I read a book.
We have some technique.
So I guess,
down.
that's some type of preparation.
I listened to podcasts all week in preparation.
That's good. That was actually one of the TikTok videos that I was watching about how to get better at a specific video game once you've reached a plateau.
Mm-hmm.
One of the tips was to watch other streamers who are good at the thing you want to get good at, because you can learn little micro things that you can get better at.
All the things that make you better are like the super small things. Do you remember? Do you ever watch X-Play on G4 back when that was the thing?
G4, yeah.
Yeah, they had like a tips and tricks section with a guy, a pro gamer for Halo, called T Squared, and he had like tips and tricks. And it was crazy to me that there could be tips and tricks. Like, I don't know. I always felt like being good at a game was something that you just, it's like talent. You had it or you don't have. There's a slow learning curve for some things. And either it's exponential growth or you plateau.
I think now more than ever, especially with competitive gaming, the tips and tricks are prevalent. I mean, you can look at TikTok. It's all tips and tricks. Jake just stole a
what's it called? A pop filter?
Pop filter.
Pop filter. I'm practicing right now. I noticed my mic was popping a little bit. And, if we had to scrap one more podcast, I was going to scream.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
How many times can we do something before we release it?
So what did we want to talk about today? So the first time we recorded, and I think it would be good to go with these topics a little bit, kind of going over a bit of an origin story, I think.
The origin story, I think, is the main purpose of this episode 0.
Of episode 0. All right. Well, we should definitely cue some harp music. Some, go dipping into the memory pool.
In my head, it's that morning song.
Yeah. It's morning on the Replay Cafe family farm, and Alex is wandering out the front door. Overalls on, hat on, ready to grow some game.
It was probably more like a bandana at the time.
Do you the time of our meeting or the time of this imagined?
The imagination of scene, I was probably wearing a bandana to get all my luscious locks back.
Yeah, well, it can happen to you where you can have the sun burn away all your hair. Do you know that? Supposedly, my uncle went bald because he didn't apply sunscreen to, I guess, his hair. The story that my grandmother tells us is that he went away to be a camp counselor and came back having burned all the hair off of his head. And he's been mostly bald since. So it's a reason to wear a hat. You can burn your scalp. Obviously you can. And if you do, you will go bald.
I think I have no comment. But I'll comment anyway.
Sure, go ahead.
Your grandmother's a liar.
We'll do a edit in if we can find proof that that's true. But anyways.
Cut to your grandmother telling that story 20 years ago.
I probably made up a lot of that story. I always remember a quarter of the rest and know that there's 75% to fill, so I
can't
improvise.
Believe that this is the tangent that we think listeners are going to start on. If they're even interested in listening to the origin story, first they have to start with your grandmother and your uncle and how he lost all his hair at summer camp.
I don't know. I am having, obviously, a positive reaction, so maybe the listeners at home are also having a positive reaction.
Sure.
It's possible.
Sure. I see some tweet notifications.
Yeah.
Let's check on the PlayStation 5 status.
So, if anyone doesn't know, we are in the process of getting that PS5, the one that we've previously been calling the secret prize. It's probably going to remain the secret prize on our more main platforms.
Yeah, if
Instagram.
you're listening to this, you just got a hint at what the secret prize might be.
Yeah. I guess I didn't have to say that's why we were buying it, but
GameStop's at $120.
Oh, No, wait. You said 120, and my brain auto-corrected you to 102? So I was like, oh, yeah, 102 is
just
above 100, huh?
going.
Damn. So should we start? I think we should start with GameStop drama. It's both happening right now, and we're a game place.
Okay, give us a quick rundown, like super quick, for anybody who didn't exist in the world in the last month. Anyone trapped underground in a bunker that only listens to podcasts about gaming that didn't already cover GameStop. Go ahead and cover it for us.
We'll catch up, and then you'll explain what's happening right now. So let's say 2-3 weeks ago, what would it be called? There was a raid on Capitol. There was the raid at the Capitol, and then we had the raid on Capitol. Basically, a bunch of geniuses on Wall Street Bets decided collectively they had the ability to drive the GameStop stock, which they agreed were undervalued, drive it to the moon, through the roof, on a rocket, and to all have collectively diamond hands, you know? I think, what did it hit at its high point? 400?
400?
400, right. And then it, came down, came up, then a precipitous fall where it's hovered for the past couple weeks around 40.
The goal was to get to 1,000.
They were 40% of the way there, which is,
pretty damn close.
Pretty damn close. So, I mean, it's for the past couple weeks been hovering around like $30, $40. Some dudes are still holding. That's great. There was a hearing this week. I think Deep Fucking Value went on and said, I like the stock, and the stock jumped $5 and that came back down. But that's nothing compared to what's happening right now, which Alex, I think, is going to take us through.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's nothing compared to right now. It's just
$5 is nothing compared to
that.
what?
I thought you meant the whole beginning premise.
No, for its past 2 weeks, it's been in the gutter compared to the 400.
So I bought at like 130, but then I averaged down by buying a bunch of $40 shares. Fill out my average is about 63. Just in case, I wanted to keep in there. I'm not really a big part of Wall Street Bets, but I kind of hover and lurk in the shadows.
You were one of the 6 million new members.
Well, I had been following that.
Oh, I had too, but I never thought to look.
Yeah, I wasn't like researching anything.
No.
And so I'm not really sure why today is the day. I do know Dave Portnoy had a conversation with Vlad yesterday over Twitter, so I don't know if that refueled the rage against Robinhood. But
is the world is it, I guess, post Portnoy fandom? Is he now a bad guy in the eyes of the Diamond Hand community?
I think he's still sort of this neutral party with a platform big enough to take on.
He's one of us. He just
boys.
happens to have a louder voice.
Yeah. But anyway, at the time of recording, GameStop halted into the market close and now is continuing to rocket up past $120 now. Just kind of, trickling up there. 122, 123, 117.
To be clear, that's like
which is
3 times.
Which is about triple what it started at this morning. So, Deep Fucking Value has now increased his
value.
Profits
oh my God.
once again.
Oh.
And I like to believe that he's just holding.
I like to believe he's just holding.
I want to believe all of the bettors, or the whatever you call them, the WSB boys are all holding for 1,000. So I've set my sell at 1,000 to be along for the ride.
I do like the name WSB
I only have
boys.
20 shares.
Yeah.
So if I could turn that, whatever it was, $300 or so, and turn that into $20,000, that'd be great.
Oh, God.
But if it comes all the way back down, at least I was there for the rocket ride.
Oh, you're not at any point planning to sell.
No, I'm a 1,000 or bust.
Oh
I've got diamond hands. I'm not. It's not like I'm in it with $100,000 of capital. I'm in it with a very light amount.
Okay. Well, I hope it continues to soar. Keep us updated as we continue to record. So.
Deal.
All right. That was very topical of the moment. Now let's hop back into the past. And let's talk a little bit about the origins of Replay Cafe, this 5,000 square foot gaming haven, venue, warehouse, party palace, personal fort.
Seems more like a personal fort these days. I like the idea of the party palace, but it doesn't. It has not come to fruition yet.
Not yet, but also people have actually started asking us. And if you're listening and want to book anything, feel free to reach out to us. We just have to keep our numbers around, I believe, 80 people. We've had people ask for like 250, like a huge performance, like, and we had to turn it down.
Yeah, I mean, assuming we release this still in the midst of the pandemic, we're not going to have 80 people in here.
No, probably not. I don't expect that number to ever be hit. It's just, I think
not
our true
until
cap.
October, November, vaccination process, whatever. Still, again, none of this is our origin story.
None of this is, no, it's not. No. But anyways. You started that tangent, by the way. But yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. I described the building. I described what it was. And then you said,
if you think that I started that tangent, you're out of your fucking mind.
You started it. The Replay Cafe, this gaming haven. Alex, to your memory, how did it start? Because you were there from the beginning. I wasn't. I'll admit it.
I mean, you were from the beginning 2.0, I'd say.
Yeah.
But
the original. Did you even call this 2.0? That there was something before.
Yeah. Originally, I was working with my friend Andre, who I had met over the game of League of Legends. He lived in Colorado. I lived in Michigan. He had been frequenting a gaming lounge out in Colorado called Clutch?
I think it was Clutch.
Clutch.
You never told me it was called Glitch. I've heard Clutch before.
Maybe Glitch is not anything. Maybe that's the one in Kalamazoo.
Is Clutch the one?
They've all got like such, punchy names. They kind of blend together. Ignite, Clutch.
Yeah. The fire of esports is captured within the name.
That's all I got out of my bag of quick names. Anyway, Andre and I had, we were playing League, and he was telling me how great this place was, and how he was getting, friendly with the owner, and the owner was telling him like all the tips and tricks basically to open one of these bad boys quickly,
really efficiently.
Cheaply.
I didn't know that the owner of this place ever contributed anything.
Yeah. I actually think his name was Jake, oddly enough. So cut to a couple months later, we're still talking about it, still trying to get something going. I tell him, I'm pretty busy, but if you want to do up a business plan, I'm into the idea. I'm ready for it.
You were busy with your other business, right? This isn't your first creation manifestation.
Yeah. So I'm like getting capital ready. We're looking at researching how to do it, what we're going to need, talking about buildings, locations. We've even pitched the idea that it could be in Colorado, it could be in France, it could be in Ireland.
How do you, this isn't super important. How do you look for property in France?
Literally no idea.
Okay, never got that far.
This is kind of odd. His vision was to take it to France and to have, because so in the meantime of all this, he either was or began dating a French woman. Don't know how. Don't really. Andre,
how do you land a French woman? I'll tell you that. How do you? What do you say?
So then he ended up going over there, spent time there, came back.
Suddenly, gaming seemed less important for some reason.
We're still talking about doing this thing, how we can make it work, and then both of us just kind of fell off about it. I didn't have the time. He started planning a whole new life. This guy got married. He had a kid. He moved to France. All of this happened suddenly, in my mind, pretty quickly. But honestly, it could have been 2 years. It could have been 2 or 3 years of time.
The number of times you thought about it probably was like could be counted on two hands. I bet that's why you're like, oh yeah, right, the gaming place.
So, enter Jake into my life via my girlfriend, and we discuss a mutual interest in playing some type of tabletop game, Dungeons and Dragons, Monster of the Week.
Monster of the Week is what we went
And Jake ends up organizing one with a small group. And
I would never say I organized anything.
Well,
people showed up.
You were the DM, and people showed up, so there was some form of communication.
Yes.
and Jake and I were discussing where to play. Nobody really wanted to just play at one of our houses. No. I live in a pretty small place. Jake at the time was living with his parents.
Hey, don't gotta out me like that.
I'm just saying, like, we're not gonna there's a level of intimacy with a role playing group where, like, if anybody thinks that someone in the other room might be like listening or overhearing,
you won't do the full experience.
You can't get into it.
You limit yourself.
And so
it's kind of like that way with podcasting, by the way.
Yeah, this is why we record in our empty warehouse.
Empty because it's pre-open, not empty because we're bad at marketing.
Sure. So anyway, we end up deciding that we should go somewhere public, and then we can't really find a place that we want to play. So we end up deciding on something that's
there was a bar in Birmingham called Dick O'Dow's, which definitely had like I would call it like Shire vibes. If you've ever seen the inside of Bilbo's house in Lord of the Rings, the first one, it had a similar vibe. Irish bar. They brought you bread pudding, not too bad, but it was also loud. Depending on the night, there could be tons of people. Waiters wanted to sell you bread pudding, which was great, but also at the same time, kind of rolling dice here. And one day I think I came and you're like, oh, I've always had like or maybe you brought up Andre or something, and I thought that was the coolest thing because I've always wanted to do something similar to this, whether it was like gaming focused or just a music venue focused, being able to build and open a space for community. So once you even like vaguely hinted at that, I was on board and like came, with a pen and paper, like as you do for a tabletop game, and I just started writing down things you said to kind of get a layout, a map of what you might actually be thinking. And from there, we kind of actually started to develop a plan. Which meant
and Jake's eagerness and passion to actually listen to me speak as well as take notes in order to build this business plan was something that Andre and I hadn't been able to really synergize over the course of the period of time. So
I feel like there's two types of people that it takes to make something work. There's like someone who has to like want something and be able to fully envision it, and then they need a second person to just say yes or no. Because other than that, you're just like, I can't get it all out. I don't know what to do. And a lot of my most talented friends, like I feel like that's something I like to do for them, where I just listen to them. And I'm like, that was a great idea, or that was a terrible idea. So if you look out there and you want to start a business, you can just be someone's yes man or their no man. Both are important.
I imagine the microphone is picking up whatever is going on the roof
wait,
now,
hang on.
But
I don't think so.
If it's not, then
I'm the one
has
monitoring
to
the audio. I
this.
don't hear it. Yeah.
It's
Our roof is rattling.
It must be windy up there.
It must
anyway,
be.
Yeah, I think Andre and I both had the vision for it, but just not the
affirming
the
perhaps
time. Like he was working full time, I was working full time. It was just hard to.
I should also say I had all the time in the world. I just graduated from college. Which is now I realize a great place to be in your life. My brother just graduated and he's like been helping out here, and I think it must be like fantastic to be like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I could do anything, such as open Replay Cafe. You can do it too, guys. Open up a competitor and put us out of business, or buy us out.
Don't do any of that, please.
Don't buy us out. Anyways, so after that. What was the process like? I go over to your house. I drive like 40 minutes. I make it out to White.
You don't have to make it sound like you live that far away. 40 minutes is like what I drive to work every day. So
I think 40 minutes. I'm using it as a way to represent my commitment to making this happen.
40 minutes.
That's all. To be clear, that's 40 minutes back too. It wasn't any shorter on the way back, and I liked it.
Great.
All I'm saying is Alex never came over to my house. Anyways. And we, what did we do? You ranted. I wrote it down. I have a degree that's vaguely related to writing. It's like a journalism thing. And I'd sometimes reconstruct sentences. We'd bust out the thesaurus, and we ended up with a 10-page plan, which we thought was like the biggest deal. I thought it was a big deal to have 10 pages of an idea.
It was nice to have something written on paper.
Yeah. It made it, at least in that way, tangible. So if someone asked me a question, I could reference it. From there, we got ourselves our consultant to mix results.
Yeah. So then I had another buddy who has always wanted to invest in something that I've done. His name is James.
He's always wanted to give you money.
James. He is my biggest fan, I would say.
Really?
He's just like always into whatever I'm doing. He watched Michigan real estate photography like
your other business, yeah,
blow up, and when I told him about this as a potential investment idea, he was like, I'm in. How do we do it? What do you need from me?
Mm-hmm.
And was ready to be along for the ride. And so one of the things he did when he was living in San Diego was he went out to a place called Game Sync, and he popped his head in, and he was getting a little bit into League of Legends at the time, on his laptop, and then going over to a place that has high-powered gaming rigs. Mm-hmm. It becomes a little bit addictive. and he was like, I see how this is a place.
Yes.
It's a reality. And he ended up, I believe he reached out to the owner of that place and ended up getting his contact information, who he then passed on to us, who we then reached out to as a consultant. Who ended up, putting us on the path towards opening with things like layout, financing, vendors for equipment, and additionally a template for a well-constructed business plan that we could then adapt what we currently had into a more professionalized version with demographics and market research and all kinds of stuff that you needed that we kind of just were a little bit light on in our first draft.
I would definitely say if you're opening a business, go buy like whatever small template you can get. And just it helps so much to have someone lay it out like that for you. If you didn't go to school for it, it feels official. It's convincing to other people.
I think it's true about most
businesses.
Most things is that somebody has already done this.
Yeah.
And that there is a layout for it that you can emulate and fill in the blank to a degree. Yeah. And yeah, that's kind of what I learned.
No one's creating in a vacuum. Like there's always people to pull from and people who want to help you.
There's no sense trying to rebuild and reconstruct the entire plan from scratch. Side note, if you're not taking investments from banks, you don't actually need a business plan.
No.
So there's that.
And if you have a plan that requires anything less than $200K, you're not getting any interest from banks. They don't care. That's not enough for them to give you anything. What they will do, which actually got us on the path, I think we had some trouble financing it first, because this place does require some money. And there's a weird thing where you have to like spend money to get more money, it seems. We went into a bank, and our beautiful banker, Zach, I believe.
Shout out to Zach.
Shout out to Zach.
Zach over at Chase.
Without Zach at Chase, we would not have anything, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, so other hot tip for all the savvy entrepreneurs out there.
Get a credit card.
Business credit lines are greater than personal credit lines.
Bigger. $20K.
Especially when you are dealing with a literal upwards of $50,000 in debt, just graduated college student.
Yes.
And $40,000 in debt, self-employed person. Now, we do have good credit scores, and we were able to get a credit line.
Yeah.
We were also able to, because we were a LLC, a joint partnership, we were able to get matching credit lines, utilizing each other's
We
leverage.
should have gotten other partners.
We should have just taken on tons of partners.
If you have a big family, take them to Chase Bank.
Add a ton of your brothers onto that LLC. Boom, 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 boom. 25% ownership for everybody. Yeah. But so we were able to get, $44,000 in credit line, and all of a sudden,
people were taking it more seriously when I brought it up to them. Once we started spending that money,
we were able to put down payments on a lot of things. At the time of going to the bank, we had just, I believe, started working on signing the documents for the lease here. And this space was one of I'd say less than a dozen spaces that we actually looked at, but none of the other ones.
Should we talk about
fit our layout?
Why we wanted to do Detroit?
Yeah. Go for it.
All right. So I think coming out of school, I was in Grand Rapids, right? And I came back here, and my brother had been going to school at Wayne State, and we started going around to places like Outer Limits or Off-World or, I don't know, some place normal like the DIA. And I feel like I'd really missed out on the city. Like when I left for school, it was 2013, and my mom would say things like, "Oh, maybe you'll come back and do something." And I thought, never. I was one of those kids who thought they're going to Chicago, they're gonna have a really cool apartment, and they're gonna have a media job that pays them $60K. No. Came back here, and I felt like I made the wrong move by not staying in the city in the time where those things started to pop up. And I felt like, additionally, for what we were doing, we saw places that were in strip malls that were kind of far-flung. You went to one in Portage, right?
Yeah.
They all seemed very oddly placed, and they didn't seem to be in a central space. And then the way a city is, it's a meeting place for many kinds of businesses and people, and ideas, etc. And there was nothing in the city of Detroit. Actually, I should take that back. There's one place. It's called Player vs. Player, and I actually had a guy come into a store this weekend and say good things about it. He recommends we go.
Since opening, there's been a lot more interest in the city. But 2 years ago when we were putting the plan together, there was literally the place in Portage.
Yeah.
This is before Game Time opened in Lake Orion or Auburn Hills.
Just
we hadn't
before,
even heard of them. LFG hadn't opened in Royal Oak.
Oh,
we were
not,
literally, we must have
new.
all been working
at the same time.
Going, why is there no place around Detroit that has this?
And people put their chips down in different cities. Like you said, Game Time's is it Sterling Heights?
Game Time is in Auburn Hills.
Auburn Hills. LFG is in Royal Oak, which is a good move. I'd already developed in, I don't know if you call it hot, but like a city with a good flow.
A lot more foot traffic. In their area.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I think we wanted to bet big on Detroit. It just seemed like the way to go. It seemed to be with the tide. And also it seemed like with what we were providing, like access to hardwired fiber internet, retro games, high-powered PCs. They're super expensive. I personally, at the time we started working on this project, couldn't afford a single one of these. And I thought the idea of like bringing them to a place where people could have access to them and rent them, there was almost no excuse for the city not to have something like this.
Yeah, and I mean, even since we've heard from a lot of people, like, can't believe fiber internet access. There's not an internet cafe. There's not anything like this being off. The closest thing to our board game area.
Hang on, your mic is jiggling.
Is it my cord?
I think it's the cord.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The closest thing to our board game area is like inside comic book shops in like Clawson
Those
and
back
Berkeley,
rooms.
and like they've got the small little rooms or large tables that are dedicated for it, which is great.
Those are community spaces. Those are fantastic. We just wanted to make something that was like that but built out,
Yeah, something that's a little more socially inclusive, I guess.
Yeah.
Would be the word.
I would say has windows.
Something with windows is great. But, we wanted to cover all aspects of gaming. And, it started with being a PC Bang or a LAN Center, and sort of adapted into having that retro area and making sure that we were offering board game space and tabletop space. And the computer's doing something weird. Can you still hear me?
I can still. Okay.
The
computer screen went black. I thought we lost everything. All right, go ahead.
And I think the one big thing that I think you really brought to the table was just like the cafe aesthetic and like having it be this lounge area as well. And once we started talking about all this, we realized how quickly, like, how much bigger of a space we needed than I think most people would have pitched to us.
Everyone was saying like 2,000 square feet, 3,000 square feet.
1,300 to 1,800 was like what we were hearing.
Oh my gosh.
And that was
narrow
like if we were
spaces
gonna,
too.
Yeah, if we were gonna line the walls with the PCs and only have PCs, then sure, we could have done a call center style PC.
But to even say call center style, doesn't that like make your skin crawl a little bit? Like, I think this is like my soapbox, but like losing the face-to-face or at least shoulder-to-shoulder element of gaming, that's kind of gone out the window, not just in COVID, but in the past like 10 years. To look across the screen and see someone else on the other side, that's been lost. And I wanted people to be able to do that, where you could stand up and when you beat someone, shove your finger in their face. And have for that guy to say, hey, let's take this outside. Like, you should have that opportunity.
The head-to-head aesthetic, as well as the team desk units, I think were one of the biggest pieces that we wanted to make sure we had. And a lot of places have been successful with being, rows and lines and perimeter versions of PCs, and that it's great that works for them. It just, I think that's packing in a lot into a small area, and I get the reasoning, but we wanted to keep it more open. I think also this idea ended up being something we kind of lucked into with the pandemic. We were able to spread everything out so much more, having all this space.
Oh, yeah. We're definitely lucky that we didn't choose a small, cramped.
I don't know if we would have ever been able to like justify opening if it was like, here's 1,000 square feet. Come on in.
We'd have like 4 people. And they each get their own wall.
Yeah.
And they'd
oh my goodness.
Yeah. No. This came out very good. But so let's go back a little bit. Yeah, we got money.
We got money. We got a space. We've got a business plan.
I'd say it was time for us to go to school.
Time for school.
It was time for school. We booked some flights.
I told Jake, I was like, if we're going to do this, we have to see what other places are doing other than, I think Game Time had just opened, and I went for opening
to that
day. And I had, like I said, I'd been to the one in Portage, and I had previously been to the one in Chicago, Ignite. And I was telling Jake how much different Ignite is to
Game Time?
To Game Time, to any place I had been at this point.
Yeah. Did you say Game Time? Ignite was in Chicago yet?
Ignite was the Chicago place. And so I was like, this place was packed. You know, there was a wait list. There's
a wait list?
Yeah, when I went the first time, we were on a wait, and so then we just sat at the counter and got, you know, hot dogs and milkshakes.
But to even be able to have like milkshakes and hot dogs,
it was. I mean, it's different. It was just like it was everything you'd want out of a gaming lounge.
You found your needs met. Like when we went, and I'm just jumping a little bit ahead. Like I had a terrible headache, and this nice lady came up and was like, "What can I get you to eat?" And I like ordered a veggie wrap that cured my ailment. And it was just like so nice.
I think Ignite really honed in the perfect combination of like the modern esports barcade style where there's people playing, there's flat screens lining the walls where you've got Twitch playing on different channels, you've got a bar, you've got wait staff who's coming to your station.
Oh yeah, brings you at your station plated food, hot food. It feels luxurious. I would say it does.
They have mastered that style. Yeah. And they've got a color scheme. They're very well branded. And I think what they're doing is probably the easiest to franchise version of that.
And should be franchised. Like if they existed here, I would not have bothered to do it.
Yeah, right. Don't tell them that because they might be coming. So anyway, there are also, you know, we did a little bit of research and I sort of just picked out the ones that I was most interested in going to. So we ended up looking at both coasts and then Chicago. There was a couple other places that we had been looking at in terms of going to. I mean, there's Miami, Philadelphia. Like I said previously, there's one in Denver. So like these places were popping up on the radar, but it seems like the fastest way to get to the most places was to hit both coasts where there was like a lot of conglomerates of these places
New
rather
York
than like
and California.
If we went to Denver and we just like went to one place, it would have felt like a wasted trip.
Yeah. There must have been 8 or something or 7 or 10 in California that we went to, and there was ones we didn't go to.
Just between LA and San Diego, I think there was at least 15 places, and I think we went to 10.
Yeah, like we went to a lot of places.
We pushed a couple hours at each place just to get their layout, their aesthetic, the nature of what they're doing. And I would say almost every single place was only doing esports computers.
Yeah, they were all exclusively the PC thing. I think we went to one place, went to Zero Ping, which is on my top 5 places we visited. It's in I think Koreatown in LA. Yep. It's on the second story of this kind of like strip mall because they have 2-story strip malls there, which I think was interesting. But we went in and the guy's like, "Hey, what do you want to do?" And they had an option for an NES, and we're like, "Oh, no one else has that. Can we do that?" And he actually looked surprised. He's like, he offered it kind of like in a robotic, like, "Here are the options" kind of way. He goes, "No one's asked for this," and he sat us down with what must have been some kind of EverDrive or flash cart, and we picked some surfing game, which is fun.
Oh yeah, I think we played. Was it Pacific's?
Do you remember the name of the game?
It was like Pacific Sports or something.
Yeah, I
can't remember. I used to play it as a kid.
Oh, you knew the game? Okay.
Those games, because there's like no instructions and there's no tutorial, they're so hard to like.
I love that.
And they're just like 2 button clicks. So it's like throw the frisbee. So you like A and your guy starts running and you press A again just to launch it. And you don't know, you don't have any control.
Can you
after
control
that?
the frisbee? Left, right? You don't know.
Oh, God.
That's what I like though. That used to be my experience. Like Hanukkah would come around and I'd get like a handful of old Game Boy Color games for my advanced. And they'd have no manuals and I'd just guess my way into like enjoying them. Or I'd like leave them halfway finished or never finished. But like, I do like that element of the flash cart where you're just digging through old things. But they were the only place to offer that. Like you said, it was a PC focused thing. Except for Esports Arena in Anaheim did have a I would say modest board game collection.
There were some. I mean, I would say the games were relatively normy.
They were apples to apples. I thought it's a Monopoly.
They might have had Settlers of Catan.
Yeah, it was not robust.
It was, it was a shelf of board games that it didn't look like anyone was playing. Like maybe somebody just brought from home.
Yeah, they had a bar attached, so I think maybe people take them out when you're at the bar.
Yeah,
I can see that.
That place.
We
did not go to the Las Vegas, which is, I think, their premier location.
Mm-hmm. I would say I was probably one of the most disappointing. We learned a lot.
A huge venue. Probably great for events, but
bigger than us.
For open play, it was a letdown. I mean, even the tables were wobbly, like they were just kitchen stainless steel tables.
It was crazy. You had to haul your mat, your keyboard, your mouse to a computer. I feel like I might have had to carry my monitor too. I know I didn't, but it feels like I may as well.
It was the only place that we had to actually like check out all of the peripherals, which maybe they had an issue previously, and I don't blame them, but it was so different from every place we had been to.
Right. Where Ignite felt like luxury, this felt more like figure it out yourself.
We were a little spoiled going to Ignite first.
Okay, that's probably true. But yeah, I think we learned a lot more from places that we like not didn't enjoy, but like had apprehensions or,
Yeah, smaller places where everyone was more personable.
Yeah, we had a lot more fun.
We were telling them what we were doing there.
Comworks in LA was one of my favorite. The guy there, he was like, "Oh, hey, come on in. I'm just cleaning up." Like he's cleaning the mats himself. We picked up a water bottle. He's like, "I'll charge you for that later." Like
that guy rocks.
That guy rocks. And I think like when I think about how we interact with our customers, I'd like to be like that guy to somebody.
For sure. And I think what was coolest about his space, and it was like not something I would have ever considered because of where he was. Spot. Yeah, he was also like a business development area. Like he had the computers, so he was like pitching himself as, you could fax, print.
Yeah, it was
resumes, all this kind of stuff that kind of goes hand in hand with computer stuff that's more on the business side and not on the gaming side. Mm-hmm. But because of where he was located, it just made sense for him to add those pieces in.
Right. Maybe we should add those pieces in.
I don't know where to put a printer. It would jam all the time.
It would jam all the time. I have experience with that, but we'll put it next to the big TV that's coming today.
God.
Yeah.
Update on the GameStop stock, $146 and climbing.
It's tempting just to open up Wall Street Bets and start reading the
I know that they're holding for 1,000. I'm not even worried about it.
We are 1 minute away, estimated wait time to pick up this PS5.
Ooh, excellent.
I know. The news keeps getting better. Today I thought we'd maxed out the good news with the fact that the weather was finally above 17 degrees, but there's more to it. But yeah, so
I didn't have to push my girlfriend's car out of the driveway today, so that's a benefit for me.
The old man who lives across the street from me keeps hassling us to like ice our driveway, which we don't have to do because just fuck it, right? But
so your neighbor is mad that you're not icing your driveway?
This man is out every day, usually around 11 a.m., shoveling his perfect driveway, and then he parks his car in front of my house every day and asks me why I don't park in my driveway. I like to park in front of my house. It's more convenient for how I come out. And he complains about it. What was extra funny is there's a girl downstairs because we live on the upper flat. And she had a friend come over, and the friend is walking up to the house, and this old man finds it to be the time to approach this friend and start to give her like the pitch on why she needs to like salt the driveway, which is not her driveway, which is my driveway. And she thinks that it's his house. She thinks he lives upstairs. And in the end, she's like, "Well, why don't you salt the driveway?" And he goes, "I don't live here." And she yells, "Well, I don't live here either." So to these two people who do not live in my house are having a fight about who should be salting my driveway. And we found that out like 2 days later from our neighbor downstairs that this friend was like also like, lectured by this guy. But I thought that was so funny.
Oh my goodness. Within the time of that story, it's climbed to 170.
Wait a minute. Holy shit.
Oh, PlayStation time. Add to cart.
How do I?
Add to cart.
Out of stock.
What do you mean?
It's out of stock.
No. Click add to cart.
No, I can't. There's nothing to click.
Why did they even let you through the queue?
Yeah, I can buy a headset.
We don't want the headset.
Oh my God.
All right. We tried. There's always tomorrow.
Okay.
Jump cut back to the story.
Jump cut back to the story.
So yeah, Chicago,
Oh,
LA.
yeah, that story.
Drove down to San Diego. We saw a handful of places. We met some cool dudes along the way. Shout out to Kura on our Discord. He's always a cool guy. He chimes in occasionally. And yeah, we were just kind of stealing ideas along the way, really. I mean, we were like, this is what we like, this is what we don't like, this is what we want to do, this is what we don't want to do. We definitely don't want to use stainless steel tables. We don't want people to have to set up their station and waste 10 to 15 minutes of their game time that they just paid for.
I'd want to say we want to be findable, but it does seem we actually have puzzled a few people.
We've not chosen the best signage.
We have not yet, but that ties kind of into a story about me and Alex being at, I think, 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night, wanted to knock out one more place on the way back to our Airbnb, and we ended up driving into, like, I would call it, like, truly the depths of an industrial park. Like these winding roads, these one-story kind of warehouse-looking buildings. I'm creeped out, and Alex is like, it says it's here, and we, like, do kind of the roundabout at the end of this thing, and we don't see it, and then we pull by, and we see, like, maybe like an open sign or something, like, made us stop.
It was like a very dark building. Maybe there was
all dark windows,
blue glow coming from the front door, and we were like,
still creeped out.
Is that it?
No,
and then as we walk up, it's like a placard.
Yeah, it was like a small little brick-sized placard that said, like, gaming. Yeah. And we went in, and it was, like, pretty full. Like, there was like 13 people minimum there.
This was like a bunch of hardcore League players who just needed good equipment, and they were just like grinding. In the back there was a pool table. Oh yeah, that place had that back room.
It's cool. It had like a garage door in the back, and you could probably like skate there in the summer or something. But in the depths of night, I was like, we got to be more findable than this place. I can't say that we are
we did
any
not
more
accomplish that goal.
We're a little difficult, but
from there we ended up going to New York and Boston, and that was where we sort of. I mean, we had looked these places up before, and we had kind of been able to judge their aesthetic. And the biggest one we were excited to go to was OS, which we're both wearing our OS t-shirts today.
Coincidentally, we did not plan it. I thought today's the day I'm going to wear my OS t-shirt. I haven't worn it in like a month. Alex came in. He's wearing his too.
Jake was stunned.
I was stunned.
Wearing it.
Well, I haven't seen you wear it in a long time either.
Good coincidence.
It's a good coincidence.
We've been stuck in the Matrix for
so
2
cool.
or 3 weeks.
That's how, when I saw that OS t-shirt, I should have known the GameStop stock was gonna explode. Like, that should have been like, oh, it's coming.
Everything is lining up. The planets, the stars, the moon, and the sun, all in one straight line. Shoot the laser beam directly through it.
Blow up every planet, one shot.
But so OS had the best social media presence. They had the best aesthetic. They had the best website. We were excited to go. I went twice.
I hate that you went twice because I only went once, and I would have loved to go twice. We went the day Warzone came out.
Oh,
and we played.
That was so weird.
Yeah. We had, like, you had a headset and an Xbox One, and I had a headset and an Xbox One. We kind of, like, were near each other. And I mean, like, Ignite was luxurious, but this was a different kind of luxury. This was, like, aesthetically just so impressive.
This was the, like, most down to earth.
Yeah, it was so weird how nice people were.
We got to talk to the owner. We talked to so many people. Everyone was, like, very excited that we were trying to kind of do the same thing and open something in Detroit.
Right.
And
we probably sound like children too. Like, we want to open one too.
We're just checking out gaming lounges around the world.
I'm glad they didn't ask us too many questions. We would have sounded dumber. Just like,
yeah.
Oh, how are you gonna do it? Oh, well, we get back.
We're gonna will it into existence.
Yeah. Don't tell people that, but also do that. You should will it into existence. Just don't tell people that's the plan.
But OS just, I think I was just so impressed. And then, like, knowing from watching their social media presence that they have these, like, community nights and community mixers and Twitch events and all these PCs through the space. And to find out they also have, like, an operating, like, content studio, and they've got stream booths, and they're working with a ton of creators, including the kid from Holes.
Oh, he works with them?
It's
Cleo Thomas, I think.
Thomas?
Because I was watching him on
Shit.
Instagram.
Cut my bullshit out.
What'd you say?
Just say I did Cleo Thomas
What?
right there.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one.
Nice. I think
Z.
I talked through it. Do you want to say it one more time?
0? Man,
Zero. He was zero in
Zero.
holes, yeah.
Yeah. He streams like on their platform sometimes, and he just did the for Halloween. He did the eye to eye dance. He got full into Powerline costume from the Goofy movie.
Oh.
And I think it's a thing that he does repeatedly, like every Halloween or something. It was killer.
Fucking cool.
It
I
was
can't
killer.
believe I've been watching him. I didn't realize he was with OS, and that's why. I was seeing him. I've seen him a lot lately.
I probably have followed
follow him
him
on the
directly
company
on all of our
Instagram.
platforms as
Yeah.
well. And then we met BK Black Crystal.
Mm-hmm.
She introduced us to the other place in New York, which was not. I want to be clear. This is not a gaming lounge.
Don't go there; they'll look at you funny.
Some place called 368.
Mhm. It's
They're on Broadway.
connected to
and
Casey
they
Neistat,
are
the YouTube content creator.
Completely just a private like entertainment space.
Something that could only happen in New York. I mean, like, really, I don't even think LA would be able to. I mean, you could maybe, but
There's probably better spaces. I mean, I don't know.
yeah.
I think there's so many different streaming houses now that like.
Oh, what are they called? Hype houses? I think they're called hype
there's
houses.
and
Disgusting.
stuff.
Fake jobs. No tether to reality. They're like,
I don't know if I want to put that in the podcast.
Why not? I think
We're probably gonna want to work with these people.
in a hype house.
Oh my god.
Oh, let me be clear. If you're a Detroit hype house, I want to meet you. I believe in you. If you're
There's a
at
Michigan hype house.
is there really?
Yeah, I followed him on the TikTok.
We'll have to look at that.
my goodness.
I am very anti LA. The thing I'm pro LAR on is burgers, tacos, and hamburgers. Things that are good
Food-wise.
about LA. Things that are bad about LA. Every building is a 2-story or 1-story, so it feels like just like you're in a massive sprawling suburb forever. And everything else is also bad, including the people.
GameStop update 197.
This is exploding. This is insane. Holy shit. Oh my god.
So then we went from New York. We went to a couple places out there. There's a place called Waypoint.
Mm-hmm. We had a younger focus.
Younger focus.
A lot of
They did
Smash.
food. So there's a lot of Switches being played.
Mm-hmm.
And then we drove. We took the train down rather to Boston.
Mm-hmm.
We went to
Helix. Yes, at the same
we
time.
both remembered simultaneously.
And the House of Blues at Patriot Place, like where the Patriots play, which surprised me but shouldn't. But that's
And,
what Patriot Place is.
Helix is legit.
Yeah.
They were just opening that location. They were like, that was like their literally like the first weekend.
Was it
or,
really?
like,
Yeah,
the
they were
third
just like,
day
oh
or
yeah, come on
something.
in. Nobody's used these controllers yet. I was like, oh, cool.
And they're doing food. They've
Uh-huh.
got a stage built out. They've got
Oh yeah, they moved into House of
seating,
Blues. Like what a setup.
collapsible seating, like stadium style seating. Oh my goodness.
They definitely seem like the
Everything
most
was modular.
business minded of all. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Those guys know what they're doing. I mean, they have a place in New Jersey that they've been running, and that place I think is a lot smaller, and it's almost more. From what I've seen, it's like got a very Call of Duty focused crowd, which is interesting, or at least that's how they promote their events.
Uh-huh. Probably just draws the most people
Yeah,
in Boston and New Jersey.
but it's crazy to see the difference in those two spaces. Like one of them, I think, has like 150 computers over in New Jersey. It's like one of the
What?
biggest places.
Oh my god.
They've expanded.
I've
quite a bit.
never. We only saw what, maybe 40 max. I think Helix had like 40.
I'm sure Helix had quite a few.
I didn't count.
They had room that they could add more.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
if they were busy enough, I think. And then they had the private rooms, which we never saw, where
Never.
their professional team actually plays in the back and practices.
Yes. And they also had the driving sims, which I think are VR.
Oh yeah, the VR simulators.
Mhm.
We didn't try those, but
I think I was nervous too. It's like when you get on like you ever get on like a DDR machine and for whatever reason the place has the volume cranked to an uncomfortably loud volume. So it's just like thundering and everyone's looking at you and you're not doing well and you're doing worse now because people are looking at you because it's so loud. I'm phobic of loud arcade machines for this reason. So
but that was basically our trip.
That was our trip.
Where we got all the ideas.
we copied a lot of people's homework.
Yeah, we stole a lot of ideas and built our place, and we wanted to make it more Detroit with art on the walls
From local artists, I think that was very important to us
working
also.
with local people. We've talked to some local groups to start preparing for organizing tournaments,
Mhm.
and getting some big events underway once the restrictions are lifted.
Yeah. Also moving in that content creation direction, I think. Also looking to offer our base.
There's a big goal to move towards that, and how we do that, and utilizing which of the space, and basically creating like a replay set where people can do their stuff, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Reels. YouTube's coming out with some type of stories.
Oh, sounds abominable.
60-second content is what's going on right now.
So popular.
Which is crazy because YouTube has gone the other way directly, right?
Getting longer and longer.
They want you to create 10 minutes or more to even like the more time someone spends on your video, the better it performs, the more they push it, the more ads you can run on it. Like it's weird how
that makes sense. The longer it is, the more ads you can run. I didn't get that. I was like, I don't know why anyone needs a 2-hour YouTube video.
It's weird because now I prefer the sponsored videos.
Really?
Where I can just skip the 30-second ad break that they're reading.
Oh, you get the choice at the start? Like it's
no, not that one. Like if they are actually like inside the video, they sneak an ad in.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they're like, and sponsored by.
Yeah.
Do you prefer when it's a real ad?
Well, when it's like Peter McKinnon talking about Squarespace and he does an ad, I can either watch it because it's humorous and he's doing it, or I can literally just scroll 30 seconds to the next part of his video rather than having to sit there and wait for my skip ad button.
I actually prefer my skip ad button. I'm on the other side. I hate listening to I feel like I'm losing respect for you as you shill for this company. I'd rather have it seem like it was forced upon your video by some invisible hand.
Oh my God.
That's my take. But yeah.
I mean, that's how we got started. That's where, I mean, it all sort of came together very quickly after that.
Truly through like the sweat of friends and people giving up all of their time, whole days.
We were definitely supposed to open in April, and then when the pandemic hit, we pushed back to October. But even then, we were down to the day before to get everything set up and plugged in.
It's
and
just like
furniture
doing
hadn't
school.
even arrived,
Yeah.
and we had to move some power poles around, and it was.
We
are procrastinators.
18-hour days, 14-hour days. It's like you go to sleep and wake up and come right back here. People would be cycling in and out like our friends and family, like doing projects we are not capable of pulling off alone, putting up garage doors, building stages, running wires, things. I went to school for writing. I have no practical skills.
I, unfortunately, also went to school for writing.
You're 5 years older than me or something like that, so you have like at least 3 more practical skills.
I'm an old man.
You putting up cabinets in your house, and I just think that sounds crazy.
Well, I didn't start doing that until we were closed down here.
Oh. Still, it gave you the confidence, I bet.
Yeah. All that hands-on learning. I was like, I bet I could do this. I'll watch a YouTube video.
Didn't you mismeasure the cabinets?
I've mismeasured everything from here to my home. Everything's measured wrong. Nothing's been correct. At one point, I unscrewed the microwave in a way that it made it crash to the ground.
Oh, no.
So it's been a ride.
Every time I spell something wrong, I always remember how you measure everything wrong. I'm like, everyone's just got that thing.
Everyone's got some weakness.
Some kind of detail that they just can't get right. Yeah.
They're starting to bring GameStop down.
No.
I think it'll shoot up again.
What's your profit right now?
I don't want to discuss how rich I am on the podcast.
It's
Cut that question out.
What color is your shirt?
Purple.
That's what we'll edit over it.
Is there anything else we should talk about? I guess we should probably add in like a little promotional pitch here at the end, or why you should come in.
Let's talk about like the new things that are coming this week.
Okay.
So I just added it last time we were in, which was Sunday night. We're gonna be queuing it into the Discord, a jukebox channel, where if you're a member here, we're gonna be allowing you to, we've got our music playing all the time. Hit us with a song request, we'll queue it. That's free to members. And
now, is there a way to automate that?
Automate it where only members can talk in the channel?
Automate it so that we are they're basically adding a song to the playlist
really
or whatever,
cool.
and then the playlist is just always running. I'm sure there is. We'll look at it.
We'll look into it. Yeah, because I wouldn't want them to edit the playlist. I'd want them to edit the queue, which is separate, right?
Sure.
I would be very happy for that. So that's something I would love at a place. So we've added that. What else we added this week? We added a bunch of new stacks. So this is something I've noticed personally as someone who doesn't love pop. We've added some iced teas to the fridge, some gosh, what are they called? The one's right in front of me. The Arizona iced tea is the vaporwave tea of choice for most people, allowing people to not have caffeine if they don't want it.
Ooh,
an alarming sound.
Surprise guest coming in.
Who's entering the arena?
Looks like Jonah. Come on in.
My little brother.
I like his wave, like that, like reach wave.
Yeah.
Besides that, we've got free coffee as always, water, tons of new snacks.
You
Jake
just went shopping.
hit the Asian grocery store, and I hit the Kroger.
Right.
Oh, actually, I hit Meijer.
Our snack styles are Normie v. Weeb, whichever one you fall into.
I prefer to eat mass amounts of Gushers.
I like to eat half a bag of a Japanese snack and decide that I don't think I like this.
I'm not even sure what flavor it is now that I'm chewing on it.
Honestly, it's fun to sell people. I'm like, what's that taste like? And they're like, I don't know. And they keep chewing like, kind of, I don't know. I did the gum. The gum is very sour.
Okay.
That's my review of the gum.
Good to know.
It's meant to be. It's lemon gum, very sour.
As far as games and stuff, I don't think we have many new things coming this week. We do
added,
have updates. Warzone is the new season is beginning tomorrow. Actually tonight, and Cold War just began their new season today. So we should be seeing some major changes on the Warzone map.
Have
along
you
with
touched
zombies and weapons.
Cold War in a month? I stopped playing after the initial launch. Although I thought it wasn't bad.
It's a fine game. And I thought my buddies were all going to get it, and it was good for zombies. I like zombies.
Oh, yeah, wait. That's coming, right? That's new.
Well, zombies have been a part of Cold War.
Oh, I didn't know.
There's a new iteration of it with the new season. So everything's getting updated across the board at Call of Duty levels.
Maybe we play that. I don't know. Sounds cool.
We've just gotten another copy of Master Chief Collection. We're just loading up on Halo because people apparently still want to play Halo.
I've always never not wanted to play Halo, and to see people feeling the same has brought great warmth to my heart. I mean, we'll have like 8 people playing Halo here. It's amazing, guys. If you like Halo, please come to Replay Cafe.
We're still pushing our membership drive until the end of March. If we can get to 50 new members, that's when we'll be giving this secret surprise gift that you definitely haven't heard about if you're following along. And we're
halfway there to that goal, correct?
I think we're just over halfway now. We've also got new hoodies coming in, and
new hoodies ordered. Same old designs, but new fits. So if you found that your size was sold out, or you're a member waiting on your free hoodie to come to you, those have been ordered. Coming soon this week. Other than that, I think that's all I got. We may have done it for today. Very cool. Should take minimal editing.
Most excellent.
All right, guys.
Should we have some kind of send-off?
Like a sign-off line?
Yeah, like something that we say every time. It's a great day at Replay.
yeah, that should be it.
That's awful. That's awful. We gotta have a better something than that.
It's a great day at Replay. These things come naturally. One day one of us will say something and it'll stick. Until then. Until
then. Sayonara, sucker.